And finally, Mr Nicholson, Warwick Nicholson, was born in Salford in Greater Manchester. He is a retired police officer who served with Greater Manchester Police for 31 years. He now lives on a farm in Cyfiliog, Denbighshire, is now a part-time caretaker at Ysgol Cyfiliog. He says his priorities are in re-engaging the police and the public to ensure that the Chief Constable is free from political interference. Mr Nicholson will also examine the role of special constables and assess how the role can be improved. Mr Warwick Nicholson.
I didn't really want to be here. I didn't want to play a political game. A few years ago, in 2005 actually, I said, well, okay, things have gone so badly that I'll give it 10 years and see if I can turn it around, or do something to turn it around. And this is part of my attempt to turn it around as I see it. As has been explained to you, I served for 31 years. I joined the former Rochdale Borough Police. Happy days, happy days. I paraded for night duty, my very first night duty, and there was myself, who was turning out with an experienced constable, and 31 other constables paraded for night duty on that Monday night. 1 inspector, 3 sergeants, and 32 constables. And 30 years later, there was 1 inspector, 3 sergeants, and 7 constables, covering exactly the same area that I'd started in 30 years before. Now, there are far more there are far more policemen employed in the police force now than there were then. And I go back to when I first stood as a political candidate, and I spoke about the North Wales Police. And I said, the only thing I can say about the North Wales Police is, where are they? Because they weren't, and they still aren't. I've looked at the things that have gone on in the past, and I've looked at the things that are continuing to go on, and I believe that with my experience, I can sort out many of the problems that undoubtedly beset not just North Wales Police, but other forces as well. Because I do not doubt that the Chief Constable would love to deploy many of his men rather differently than he does at the moment. As I say, I served for 31 years, man and beast, as my wife says, in ranks from constable to inspector, and I know what does work and I know what doesn't work. I also know the things that remove operational policemen from operational duties, and I would seek to address those. I am firmly of the view that a chief officer has to be completely free of political interference, and the police need to enforce the law as it is, as the law is written, and not always as some chief officers in the past. Now, I'm not singling out North Wales Police, because I don't think North Wales Police particularly have gone down that road, but not enforcing law as they would like it to be. One of the concerns that I have with regard to North Wales Police is the less than close relationship with the public of North Wales. The misconceived overemphasis on speed cameras in North Wales was a mistake, but it was something that was not addressed, and I do not believe that there are many people in this room that believe that the emphasis on speed cameras was about right. And I believe that if had you been consulted, there would have been rather fewer of them. If speed cameras, as an instance, would have been used in areas where they were required and not simply as a means of raising revenue. One of the organisations of which I'm particularly concerned is the Victim Support Scheme. It's the only scheme that is out for the support of victims. The rest of the schemes that we hear about are usually directed to the welfare of the criminal, which in itself is no bad aim, but I spoke to officers of the Victim Support Scheme, and I was shocked to find that their budget is not ring-fenced. And they were concerned that the new Commissioner might decide that if he needed a couple more PCs in Ruthin or Denby or wherever it happens to be, it might take some of their money. I'm concerned about that. because the victim support scheme is one of the schemes that I think really needs to be greatly supported. If you vote UKIP, you will be getting a PCC who is as free from political interference as it can be, because the arrangement that we made with the leadership of the UK Independence Party was that the PCCs, our PCC candidates, will be allowed to set their own policy in their own area having regard to the views of the population. The brief that we are given by the party is to get out there and talk to the people and find out what they want and make sure the Chief Constable is aware of it and make sure he has the resources to deliver it. How he delivers it is a matter for him. I served for 31 years. I know what works, I know what doesn't work. I was and I still am a victim-orientated, old-fashioned copper. I know what works, I know what doesn't work. And if you're the kind of person who wants to take liberties with other people's freedom and property and quality of life, then don't vote for me. I'm not in that.